What's up, everybody? How we all doing tonight? Oh, we got this stream inception going on. Wait. Cool. How's the sound? How's the mic? Can you guys hear me? I'll turn down the music soon, don't worry. I'm doing great, actually. Uno exception, yeah. What's up, son? Okay, Andreas. The whole gang is here. So, is someone still trying to get the software up and running? Unreal Engine? Let me know if there's any progress on that. Fan slemt upp. Yeah, for all the people just joining, before you do anything else, start downloading, because Unreal is a little bit heavier than the other softwares that we've been using, so get that running. I'll go a little bit slow this time, in the beginning. Sort of let people catch up to the download, set it up, and like launch it as well. I think I'll slowly get started, because we might as well, but I'll let people catch up a little bit before I really get started. So yeah, welcome to the fourth and final installment of the Bootcamp series. Exciting. We're doing Unreal Engine today, and as usual, I'll be your instructor. My name is Onua, and I am currently a student at CADA. I go to the third semester. We just started that. So if you have any questions about the school or 3D or something, just feel free to type it in the chat. I'm more than happy to answer whatever questions you do have. That's why we're doing it live. So you can ask questions and I can interact with you. So don't be scared. And if you have a question, there's probably a couple other people that have the same question. Oh, I hope the music is not completely overblowing what I just said. But there we go. Now this installment is called Level Design, but more or less what we will be doing is just creating a little scene. So let me close Unreal real quick. So here we go. Unreal is a really cool software, to be honest. It's cool because you can do a lot of stuff very quickly, which makes it amazing. It can make it really fun and really satisfying to sit in it. Will you be using geometry brushes? I'll not. I probably will not. But let's see, maybe we have time at the end or something. I think for this session, if there's some people that have never opened the software before, we'll just go over like the super basics. We'll just be placing stuff, placing lights, making a cute little scene. Nothing too technical or something like that. I do assure you, you can get technical in Unreal, and if you do end up needing something specific, you can. I'm sure there's videos for it, or if you have a specific question, I might be able to answer it. So for all the people, you should be able to see a screen that is sort of similar to this one. Just let me know if your Unreal is working and we can take it from there. I don't want to lose everybody in the first minute. I was a little worried because it's a new software and all, but I want everybody to be on board. Let me know if you are live in the chat. I'm ready to go. And also let me know if you have any previous experience in Unreal. It sounds like Refraction is already like into it a little bit. But what about the rest of y'all? Okay. Ooh. So yeah, so right here, I'll just assume that people are sort of ready. I hope you're all ready. If not, let me know once I start and I can take you through it again. But many years ago, I just remember liking the geometry brushes a lot. Very nice and quick for prototyping. I tried a tutorial but didn't get far. Ready also, no experience, only Unity. Okay, I came from a Unity place too. Like I had done a little bit of Unity and then I started Unreal. And it's say like the main difference between the two softwares right now is just that Unreal makes it so easy for things to look good. It's incredible at doing that. Okay, fair enough, everybody. So what we're just gonna start with a blank scene and we'll sort of delete the stuff we don't need and take it from there. Always wins. That's the main difference. But see, the thing is, Unity, I found it can be a bit easier to control it, is what I've found so far. But I am not an expert in game engines, I will say that. I'm mainly a modeler and sculptor. But Unreal is a little bit easier to control it. Unity is a little bit easier to control, while Unreal is more of like an absolute beast, right? But it's also a little bit difficult to tame, if that makes sense. But we'll get into that. And if you all have RTX cards, NVIDIA graphics cards, you'll really enjoy the look of your scene, I hope. Okay. So you're gonna be met with a software that has a viewport sort of like you're used to from Blender, but then everything else is a little bit different. So we spawn in here and we're surrounded by mountains and we can see stuff and it doesn't look weird. There's actually lights and everything, and that is because Unreal is sort of a real-time engine is what they call it. I was about to say game engine, but nowadays Unreal is used for so much more than games. So what a real-time engine is exactly what you see on screen. You can see the lights in real time, meaning you don't have to wait for a render like in Blender or Maya or Cinema 4D or whatever you're used to. And that enables us to see what we're doing right away, and it kind of creates this environment where we can just sort of play around with stuff and get some really cool results right away. And of course it's great for games too. You can't sit around and wait for your software to figure out how stuff looks as soon as you turn your screen, right? You need it to be real time. Yeah. So for the main controls here, it is middle mouse to pan the camera around, and then yeah, right click, you can kind of orbit, but in a very in a very weird way, sort of. It's not like Blender or whatever you're used to. And I would recommend for the movement scheme, and of course scrolling on the scroll wheel zooms in and out, but you all should be familiar with moving around in 3D, so I won't get too much, like you should all be able to do that. But the way I'm gonna be moving is with the WASD keys. And that is kind of like a little special thing about Unreal Engine, is because you start making big environments and you want to move around in them. So if you hold right click, you can click WASD and you can kind of move around like you would in a game. So try that for a sec and see how that feels. This is super useful, by the way. I would recommend getting used to this. It might feel a little strange if you're coming from Blender or something, but I promise you it'll be real nice. And then if you feel like you're moving too slow, you can scroll on the mouse wheel while holding right click and you'll start to move faster and faster. You see how this is useful? Can you imagine going all the way out here in Blender? It would take forever. True, but I also think they do have that. It's just not a very easy setup. I know for sure Blender has WASD movement. But I guess the main reason why they do have it here is because you want to be able to move around quickly in your big environments. It's kind of like flying around, which is super fun and cool. So get used to that for a second, everybody. Just fly around. So I hope the movements are sort of making sense for everybody. So for the UI, it's not too different, really. We have our outliner out here on the right. Same thing in Blender, it's also an outliner. We have our folders with all our stuff in it and all our items. There's something like this in Blender. Yeah, I think there is something like that too. Maybe it's hidden away a little bit though, but I do remember trying that. Now, if my memory serves me right, you guys are not gonna have this tab right here, so I'll close that for a second. But yeah, so out here we have all our things. So if we place a cube, it will show up here. We can select them with left click like we're used to. Shift select, and we can select a bunch of things. So I'm gonna open a tab here that's gonna make it really easy for all of us. So if you look in the top left, you have a couple different tabs also where you can save and stuff like that. But if we go into the window tab, we can see all the windows and option menus of Unreal. And we will open one called Place Actors. And so get used to the word actors, because that is basically what they call objects inside Unreal Engine. So a camera is called an actor, a cube is called an actor, all these kind of things. So if we place down a cube, so you can see we get these tabs here with lights, we get cameras right here, and then we have something called shapes. We can left click and drag a shape out, and there you go, a cube shows up in our outliner. So it's kind of simple. Hopefully things should be manageable at this point. Honestly, Unreal I think is kind of fairly like not beginner friendly, but it is a little bit intuitive, especially if you've used Blender or something before. It shouldn't be totally alien. It should be a little bit useful or usable. Right. We have our content browser down here. Whoops. I'll get into that in a second, but basically all you need to know for now is that the content browser is where all the stuff that's used in our scene is stored. So if you want to bring in a model that has textures, then you gotta store them in your content browser, which is saved on your PC. Or if you bring in models that you've made before or other people have made, they'll also show up in your content browser, and then you can drag them into your scene. Yeah. So you can do the same stuff that you can in Blender. If you remember, we modeled. You can click W for the move tool, E for the rotate tool, and R for the scale tool. and Control Z to go back. And you can also access these tools up here. You'll notice if you start moving stuff that it's kind of snapping a little bit, also with the rotation and the scale. So just know that up here there's snapping options. So if you want the fluid movement, you can turn those off. It's just to introduce you all to the tools that we're gonna use in a little bit, right? It might be a little dry, but just get used to it real quick, and then we'll start making some really cool stuff very fast. So now all the stuff is smooth, right? And yeah, I mean, for now that's enough to start working, right? So we know how to put stuff in our scene, and we can move it around. So if you remember from the modeling session, that's kind of all we needed to get started. And we'll probably do about the same here today. So the idea for today's project is what I imagined to be a little diorama type scene. So we're just gonna make a little scene. We're not gonna make like a full-on level because I want you all to get a little bit familiar with what we're doing and not get too overwhelmed. So we're doing a little diorama, and we're gonna do a nighttime lighting for it. So we don't have to make a big background and all that. We're gonna do a little. So my idea right now is sort of a floating island temple style scene. And in a moment you'll see how free this process really is. So if you have a different type of idea in your mind already, you're more than welcome to follow that and just sort of follow along what I'm doing here. So first things first, I placed a cube. If we see down here, we have a little menu as well. Oh, and I'll get out of here so you can actually see. There we go. If you click different objects, this menu will change accordingly, because this down here is the details of an object. It's really that simple. It just holds information about what your object is, what it's doing, what it looks like, what material is on it. And for now, we just want to find the center of our scene. So we can see the location here. There's a bunch of numbers because we're not in the middle. So first of all, you can select whatever you placed and then delete it by clicking to the delete key. You can go here and you can click 0 and 0. And now your object is gonna be in the middle of your scene. So that's somewhere all the way over there. You can click space and F to go to whatever object you have selected. So that's what I did there. If you ever get lost, you can click it out here, space and F. You go back. Let me know how it feels so far. Is everything a mess and it's overwhelming, or are you sort of following along so far? It's my first time doing the Unreal Bootcamp, so I need a little bit of help gauging how easy it is to understand at this point, if it's making sense or not. But I assume if people have done a little bit of Blender, it should feel familiar at least. Okay. So for the scene, now that we have a cube, we have a little bit of a reference point. All these landscapes, maybe we can keep them for now. They're not hurting anyone. And so the way we're gonna work, before I kind of turn off the lights and start making it dark, because I want to get that dark nighttime vibe in here. So in Blender and stuff, we really had to work hard to model stuff and spend time doing all that. But a really cool thing you can do in Unreal Engine is just drag in stuff that's already been made for us. So Unreal Engine is kind of the place where you combine all the stuff that's already been made. And you make a little scene out of it. So the way we're gonna work with this today is we're gonna use something called Quixel Bridge. So you should all have this little icon up here, and you might have to log in when you click it, so just be ready for that. but there's this little tab here called Quixel Bridge. And this tool is absolutely amazing. So basically what's going on is, feels quite unreal to me. Ha ha. Badum. Yeah, but this tool is also very unreal. It is just a collection of a bunch of 3D scanned assets that's been made by the Epic Games team, I believe. And they're free for public use, so we can just download them and use them in our scene. We don't even have to model or anything, we just collect the stuff we want to use and put it in the scene. It's really quite nice. So you'll all probably have to log in as soon as you open this little tool here. And while you're logging in, I'll just kind of show what's going on with it. So let's say, for the sake of demonstration, I'm gonna go into the medieval banquet. Little photo sesh they had. So we have a bunch of medieval banquet models, and they look super nice. So let's say we want the chicken in our scene. Not that we want it, but let's say we wanted it. So we can click on it, and you can select the level of detail. So for what we're doing today, I just suggest like medium or low quality is fine, depends on your PC. And you just click download. And it's all integrated, and it should be super easy for everybody. So now we downloaded it, and it shows up in our downloads right here. And then we can click this button right here, and what it does is it takes what we've downloaded and puts it in our project so we can actually use it. Because right now we just have it downloaded somewhere on our PC, but it's not in our content browser, and we want it down there. So it's basically not in our project, but boom, I clicked it, and now you see in our content browser it made a new folder called Megascans, and inside that folder there's 3D assets. And we have our roast chicken right here. Now we can left click and drag it out into our scene. And there we go, we have a roast chicken. So it's really that easy, and that's pretty much what we'll be doing today. We'll just be dragging and dropping stuff. So for the sake of sort of getting used to it, try to drag and drop something in your scene, see if you can get it to work, and let me know. Super scrumptious. Nice looking 3D chicken. And if you're curious about how these were made, they're actually like going out there and scanning real objects. You know, these aren't poly modeled or sculpted or something like that. They're using something called photogrammetry, if I'm not wrong. And so they basically take a bunch of pictures, or maybe they use LiDAR, I'm not sure, or maybe they use a mix. But they take a bunch of pictures, and then the software can make a model out of that. And so you get these really sort of cool looking realistic models. So let's try to import something else as well. So let's go temple. I wanted a floating island with some kind of temple motive on it. Or maybe we'll just make a little temple area. It doesn't have to be super floating, right? So there's this thing, and I think we can use it. Japanese wooden well roof. So this was actually a wooden well roof that they went out there and took pictures of and scanned, which is super cool to think about. So we can download that right here. So it's downloading. Shows up in our downloads up here. Then we can make it show up in our scene. So I clicked that, see, and it's right here, Japanese wooden well roof. And we can drag it in. It's quite a bit bigger than the chicken. And you sort of see how that looks. And now these models, they do come in super high quality and level of detail if you pick the high or the nanite options. It's quite incredible actually. Okay. So that's the idea. Maybe a chicken temple. We're gonna do some kind of temple. So first of all, let's sort of get the basics of our scene down already. So the cool thing about Unreal is that you can work with the lights in real time, which is super awesome. So maybe we should dim them a little bit, because I want that nighttime vibe. So you have a bunch of stuff in your outliner, don't worry about that. Right now we're going into the lighting tab. And so you have all these things here. And those are the things that influence and control your lighting. So now you're gonna see something super cool. So we have a directional light. And what that means is basically just like it's a big sun that's shining down on your scene from one direction. So you can see the shadows that we have. So our directional light is probably somewhere right here and just shining down. And if we look in that direction, we do have that shine, if you kind of see that. So if we start rotating our light, boom, boom, boom. Super cool. I think this was quite mesmerizing to look at the first time I did it. And do you see how the light actually interacts with the clouds too? Because that's something Unreal has volumetric clouds. And if we move it down, we rotate it downwards, we actually get like a sunset and a sunrise. How cool is that? Super neat. So what do we do if we want to make it nighttime? Well, we just keep rotating it. Really cool. You can also mess with the settings in here if you want to. Let's just say for now, we're kind of fine with this right now. So I did a little bit of thinking about this before, and I want the main light source of my scene to be from these like temple lanterns, right? So let's just put some light in so we can actually see what's going on right now. It's super harsh right now. And the reason why I'm actually already putting in the lighting is we don't want to sort of overscope what we need to do and what we don't need to do. I want to get a general sense of the scale and the feeling of our scene before we keep moving on, so we don't completely overdo what we're doing. So we're doing some kind of warm light with the cold moonlight. It's a classic combination. And right here what we can see is, well, it's super harsh, the shadows. And to reduce that harshness, because the light is coming from a single point, we can sort of expand that. If you've ever worked with lights before or seen studio lights, you'll see that they have these big white screens in front of the lights. It's to diffuse the light. So when the light is diffused, it like gives a softer bounce to it, and the shadows, they don't become that hard. So we can actually adjust that right here, the radius of it. Okay, cool. And we can Control C, Control D, oh, Control C, Control V, sorry. We can duplicate out some light or whatever. So now we have this sort of little area that we want to work with, and we'll just keep it to like a little tiny scene, right? No need to go extreme or something like that. And now we can go and think about, well, we're basically gonna build our scene from all these assets, like Lego bricks more or less. And you can see I already have some of these downloaded, probably because I used them before. And we can go look through here. So I search for temple, you can search for whatever else you want. We'll probably come back to this. But what if I search for example, rock? Because I want to make some kind of ground for our scene to rest on. Bunch of cool rocks right here. Let's see what we can find. Maybe some mossy stuff would be cool. So I'm looking at this and I'm just gonna, you know what, I think I can use that. So I'm gonna download it. Oops. Quixel, we're live, don't do this right now. You're embarrassing me. Okay, never mind. So let's just relaunch it and see what's up. Are people sort of following along with the general idea of today? We're basically using photo scanned assets as like Lego bricks, and we'll build our scene from that. And we can work with the lights in real time. So that's what we're doing. We're basically just playing with Lego bricks today. Yes, it makes sense. Great. Fine. Okay. So I downloaded one of these. I'll download maybe one more or two more. So this one is a big boulder. It's kind of nice. This one has some variation. And then maybe something with smaller boulders could be great. There's some with a little bit of dirt and ground in it. Maybe that could be useful. And then this little cluster here. And maybe a wall would be too cool, so, would be cool as well, so we can frame it. So now I downloaded all these. And then I can say put all of those in the scene. And I would say don't worry too much about following what I'm doing step by step, because I'm also just freestyling it. And I think it would be cool if you could all also do a little bit of freestyling and sort of just look at all the cool stuff that's right here and ready for you to use, and maybe come up with some ideas as well. Okay. So I'm just gonna go in here and delete my chicken and clean up a little bit. Delete this chicken here too. And maybe I can make a new folder right here. So I'm just right clicking and then clicking new folder, and I'm gonna call these Mossy Rocks. Let's see if this is, oops, Mossy Rocks. Shift click and drag, move here. Oh, this might take some time. Maybe that's not it. Ah, there we go. Alright, just to keep it a little bit clean. So let's see what we can actually do right here. So this one is kind of cool. You can see how detailed it is. Like, imagine how long it would take you to make something like that. That's very time consuming. And they do use these kind of models for so many things, including games. Like actually photo scan stuff, right? So right now I'm just dragging them in to kind of see what they actually look like in 3D. Okay, great. So I'm getting a little bit inspired by this piece right here. I think it's sort of cool. And I want to try to... Oh, it doesn't have a backside though. See, that's a disadvantage of this. I'm just using the very basic tools that we all know and love. So I'm thinking that I want this kind of gate as a framing device and a focal point. And now we just have to be creative about it. And this is total freestyling, by the way, so you'll be able to kind of follow along in my process, how I think about creating a scene and how I think about lighting it. So we can take the gate that we, or just not a gate, it is a well, but we can maybe just use it as a gate, right? And I feel like my scene is a little underlit right now, so I'll just copy this over here right now to sort of work with it. You could create a little hill maybe, that would be cool. Just sort of think about what you think would be cool right now. Thinking about a cool sort of frame. Maybe a foreground element here would be sick. Something like that. So maybe like an evening nighttime shot, sorta. We could already at this point start putting in a camera and stuff like that, but we won't. Not right now. Okay. I think this gives good opportunity for a cool scene, so I'm gonna adjust our skylight a little bit here. So I want the, yeah, right there. So if you have used other 3D software, you'll notice that the rotation is always like aligned with the world axis, so like coordinate system XYZ. But if you turn this thing on right here, it will align to whatever your object is. So let's see. So the difference is when I turn my cube, I can turn it like that and turn it like this. It's like the local orientation. If I turn that back onto the world one, it's always like aligned like this, right? So I hope that makes sense, right? So basically with my directional light right here, I'll turn to the local, and I have a little bit better control of what I'm doing right here. So I'm just gonna have it right there, going under the horizon. And we kind of get this very cool, almost like after golden hour-ish feel. We can work from there. So let's see what else we can find. Maybe we can get inspired a little bit together, huh? Let me know if you think of anything cool too, and we can do that together as well. So let's go. So we have some kind of ground plane already, so let's go for more temple things. There's some statues, those are kind of obvious as a focal point. Maybe we can make some kind of path, rock wall. Let's download that. This statue is cool, I already downloaded that before, so I'm gonna add it. What is this? Oh, nothing too special. Wooden bridge, let's try it, see if we can make it work. And we need some lanterns for sure as well. Little mossy path, those are really cool. Maybe this one. A little jar. Right now I'm looking for something that could go in the gate as like a cool object to frame. So we have a bunch of stuff here and we can add it all in. How is it for people? Are you able to get in the workflow of like downloading stuff and putting it in? Am I going too fast over stuff, or is it working out for you all? So my thought process is I kind of want to create some kind of something to lead, just make the picture interesting, right? So a way to do that is kind of lead a person watching through it. That's already enough interest to make the picture worthwhile looking at. So let's see if we can do something like that. Maybe while we're here we can place down a camera. So we have this place actors tab, and from here we can actually go in and we can drag out a camera rig. So you see in place actors, if you lost it, you go to the window, place actors is right here. And then you can go to the cinematic and then cine camera actor. You can pull it out. So we can see our little camera view down there. See how that looks? And you can also enter the camera view by going right here where it says perspective. It's kind of like the normal perspective, and then you can go to the camera. And you can see what the camera sees. And now you can move around. If any of you all have done some kind of figure drawing or have some art background, you might be able to create something really amazing, or if you don't as well. But if you do, basically, you see I'm trying at least to create some kind of movement through the picture, right? You see that? And then if you want to go out of the camera, you can just click stop piloting right there on the arrow. Stop piloting right there. Let's look at the frame a little bit more. So I think it's kind of cool, but also these two being the same size is kind of not that nice. So oops. So for sure I want to change that. So I need to scale one up or scale another one down. Make it fill more of the frame. Oh, I think it would be nice for you all to get like camera down like as early as possible, because it does really help with the sort of overall workflow, because you kind of know what to look for, and you're just not, you don't need to make everything, you just need to make, you know, the stuff that's necessary. And I am thinking about this step quite a lot, because the big shapes of the picture, I'm looking at the little small thumbnail down there, right? The big shapes, they do mean a lot. They can kind of make or break your picture. I like it better like this when it's out of the frame. There we go. And you know, it doesn't have to be this, guys. Find something that you feel like is cool. I think if you just get used to placing down stuff in Unreal and get comfortable with importing assets and models, I think that's a really good start for a 1 hour session, you know? So this step right here is all about design, and that's something I'm trying to get better at. Design, it always feels so fleeting, but okay, I think that's cool for now. So we can create some kind of foreground right here. I think it's sort of cool. I think about the big sort of placement of your stuff first, everybody. So you can always add more once you have the big picture, right? So what I'm thinking about right here is I have my big shapes down already, and I can create some kind of movement through the picture. So now I can just go in and add whatever I want. And there's kind of like this idea behind what I'm doing, right? If I just started adding little ladders and steps everywhere first, then it would be hard to get that overall synergy and cohesion in the picture. And I am no expert, but this is kind of how I've been taught to think about it, and I'm trying my best to sort of follow that mindset, right? And I could recommend that to everybody as well. So let's go here, right? There's a statue. So maybe we can make a new folder right here and call it Temple Assets. Sure. We can go take all these Japanese stone things and wooden things and plop them into Temple Assets. Because we're going to start importing a lot of things, right? We want it to be manageable. Temple Assets. So maybe this arched wooden thing would be sort of cool. Let's just bring it in for now. And then did we have a statue? We do have. Well, we got a statue without a statue in it. That's unfortunate. Statue. Okay. Well, this is the first time I've seen that. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of cobblestone around here just to make it seem kind of built, and also to make it seem like old and used and not like, because I don't want this temple, like I like how isolated it is, but I don't want it to feel out of place, right? Like I want to make it feel like a historical place where stuff has happened and things have been going on. So for this part, it's about the storytelling. So my statue is not here, so I'll go try to find a different focal point. So we go temple again. So maybe we could use one of these guys. Those are kind of cool. Let's try it. So we download them. There's so many cool assets here. Bunch of cool materials too. Maybe some foliage. If we wanted to feel a little bit Japanese, then a little more tropical stuff would be cool. Let's try some of this stuff. And we don't have to use it just because we import it. Cat palm. I am no plant expert, but let's try it. Maybe this one too. Now we have a big selection. These pillars are cool. I'll come back to those. So right now I'm just gonna import all these. So I go back. Oh nice, so it made a 3D plants one for us. And this statue we'll put in temple assets. So let's see how these plants actually look. I'm kind of curious about that. Kind of like we expected. Looks like a plant. And it's so easy and it's so fast. And now we got all these great variations of it too. Ah, that's nice. What else do we have here? A tropical palm. Awesome. And as you might have noticed already, like it's so easy and so fast to get something quick in Unreal. I don't know why that plant is doing that, so to be honest, I'm just gonna delete that for now. Okay, let's see how our statue is looking. And if you have questions about what I'm doing, my thought process, what you should be doing, just let me know. And I'll be happy to answer. And if it's all a mess on your end, that's fine too. I can also help you out with that. That's what I'm here for. And let me know if it's fun as well. Are you enjoying the process? So you kind of see this was the idea, right? You have this kind of movement up to a focal point right there. And my scene is a mess right now, just like a kid playing with Legos. But that's basically what we're doing, playing with Legos. There's some cool pillar assets right here that I wanted to get and use in my scene. Right now I'm just trying to think in terms of sort of design, right? Like what can we use to lead the viewer and the player if you're making a game for that sake, right? There's a bunch of nice random objects here that we can sort of use to our advantage. So let's go right here. Download, download, download. Yeah, then we can move these into the temple assets. We could also start thinking more about the lighting. What kind of mood are we going for? Where do we want the lights to come from? Because obviously the light and the shadow can have a huge influence on what might look good and where it might look good, right? So let's think about this for a second. I wonder if there was a way to pin this. Are people able to work on their scene? Okay, nice. So there's sort of things I like about it and things that I think I need to fix, right? Okay, let's see what else we brought in? So we had these gravestones. So already it's quite a lot of assets, so maybe I should have made a different folder. Just so I don't lose track of where everything is. These steps can be nice. Some more steps, just bringing them in so we know we have them if we need them. Okay, we got those types of lanterns. I don't know what that is. A little Buddha baby on a pole? Sure, maybe we can use it. We already have that one. So just going through looking at what I have and what I don't have. Because you can quickly forget. Get a little bit overwhelmed with all this stuff. Keep it up, everybody. Keep working on your scenes. I'd love to see them at the end of it. You all have been so good at making amazing stuff in these boot camps. I love looking at it. Keep it up, keep it up, keep pushing. Now I'm just trying to make this kind of staircase that goes up, right? See if we can get it to work. And see, there's like positives, and obviously there's some limits with using Lego bricks, right? Like you can't always bend the Lego bricks into exactly what you need. You can just try your best. And then you can be a little bit smart about it, I guess. So we get this kind of cool movement right here. Boom, boom, down. Okay, and then we can probably continue it over here. So we gotta be a little bit thoughtful about how much we duplicate the same rock everywhere. But I think for now it's totally fine. Nice, okay. Then the idea is... maybe these would be cooler than this wooden thing right here, huh? Kinda go together with the rest of it. Can sort of mash things together, try to create what it is that we need. There are ways to make stuff really look like they belong together in Unreal called decals. It's basically like putting on a little spray paint on stuff, if that makes sense. Like you can just put a sticker on top of multiple things and make them look like, oh, they belong together, you know, like a little dirt sticker or something like that. How are people coming along? Is it going? At this point, we just gotta refine the idea that we have. And this is one of those things that are really fun if you're also doing it as well. Nice, and if you do have suggestions, feel free to be active in the chat and let me know. We can go from there. So I'll just clean up a little bit in my scene. And hold up. If you want an object to just like snap, so if I move this thing, you can see it's like snapping to the surface. You can go here and then turn on surface snapping. So we can go right here and then move the stuff out of the way. All our extra things. Kind of really like the way this one sits right here, so I'll keep it. Okay. I'll sort of go ahead and make this kind of pathways towards the viewer. Maybe if I can get it to work purely visually. Create some kind of depth. I wonder if we can frame it nicely right here. Oops. So I'm trying to create some kind of foreground element right here. And it's important, even when we're working in 3D, we want to create that kind of feeling of depth, even though stuff obviously past perfect depth as it is. But even if you have perfect perspective, things can still end up feeling flat. And it's kind of something you have to deal with as a 3D artist. So it's kind of really annoying that I cannot pin this camera right here. Ah, here it is. It's right there. There we go. Now it's way easier to work. Nice, and now we can bring in some foliage, maybe, perhaps. Sort of solidify the idea that there's some kind of pathway here. How's it going for you all? Let me know. Feel free to. It's okay if it's like not going, because you know that's the whole point of this, that if something is wrong or if you're stuck on something, I'm more than happy to help you out with it. So I'll just keep refining right here. Kind of want to make sure that this path is not lost in the picture. So this rock here is kind of, yeah, it needs to go down a little bit right here, just so it doesn't obstruct the whole idea of this path, so I can make it a little bit more visible. Okay, nice. Let's get a little bit more active with our foliage, because it is looking extremely rocky right now. Maybe put some of this stuff in here. Tropical palm sounds good to me. Get that in there. Do kind of like these. Just by stacking these on a line. Got to go. Alright, Andreas. See you later. Thank you for checking in. Yeah, the music is kind of cool though. Here we go, create some kind of pathway. And let's try to get some lights in there, huh? It's been long enough with this weird lighting. So I'm just gonna start off by lowering the intensity of all these. Sort of see where the natural light leaves us off at. So this directional light, we can sort of dim this a little bit if we want to. Oh. Now we're getting real cozy. see what happens if we put it inside the lantern. Oh, it's so quick to change the focal point, right? Now you see how fast the lantern became the focal. So we don't exactly want that. We're gonna have to fake it a little bit because the light isn't actually sort of giving us what it is that we need right here from it. So we can move it in front or behind. So I'm thinking about how I can make it a more interesting scene to look at. I think maybe I can do something cool right here with the directional. We can sort of fake a moonlight by putting in a spotlight as well. Okay, make it a little bluish in the hint. Maybe a little more over here so it feels like it's coming like that. And then put what we call a fill light just so the shadows aren't so incredibly like dark. Or the intensity of that. So we're kind of working with this scene right now. I do wonder if we can rotate the clouds a little bit. Is that a possibility that we do have? Let's look in the cloud settings. So if you remember from before, you can always click anything and then you have settings down here. So we can actually adjust the way our clouds feel and look. There's a planet radius, that's cool. Don't exactly know. I wonder if there's a seed for them, but I guess maybe perhaps not. Yeah, I think we're just gonna have to deal with the way it looks now then. So overall, I guess I'm kind of sort of happy with how it feels and it moves. Let's add something to the ground so it doesn't look so Baron. I'll just go ahead and add something. Could also move the lantern up to kind of give it, you know, I'm not sure I like that. Obviously, if you want to do something like this for real, you would come in with a little bit more of a game plan, right? Right here, I'm more or less just winging it. That can be fun too, but of course it also brings a lot of challenges, right? There we go. Can pin the camera down here in the bottom corner. Sort of very difficult to get that path feeling in the foreground, but maybe this is good enough right here. If the people watching in the chat has any suggestions to what I'm doing, feel more than welcome to throw them out there. But I do hope the general essence of how I got to this point has made sense. It's just Lego bricks, really. It looks nice, thank you. Have you also been able to follow along and make something that sort of feels nice? Almost. I'm eating at the same time. Yeah, it's fair enough. I mean, today has just been mostly just playing around with the basic tools, right? I do kind of like the way that sets right there, so I'm gonna try to get a little lantern up there. How about... See, now it would be real nice to have like a hanging lantern of sorts. Like one that goes sort of like that, right? Maybe we can just fake it. Oh no! Oh, that sucks. I just moved my camera. So now I completely lost my frame. Yeah, I guess be careful about doing that, everybody. Where you can find it again. Okay, nice. Cine camera actor, we pinned that. Now we just want to nail the lights, and then we're almost there. Just trying to get a little bit of some light shine on the little poles and stuff, just so they don't fall super flat. Okay. Just not a very huge fan of how dark these things are in the front. And then we should be about there. No, it just takes way more than that. Yeah. there we go. I think we got a kind of a cool visual. You can imagine if this was a game, you'd know exactly where you needed to go. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Like if people have questions or like want to show their scene, I'd be so happy to look at it if you do have one. This was kind of just what I threw together with the temple assets that I could find on the Quicksoul bridge thing, the Megaskin assets. So for all the people that are new to the stream and new to the chat, here is an invite link to the Discord server. Right here is where we do the announcements, and it's also where you can post your stuff if you do have some. So yeah, let me know guys if it was useful or not for all of you. I know it can be a little bit daunting, like starting a new 3D software and all this, maybe a little bit much, sorta. I tried to make it absolutely as beginner friendly as I could. Yeah, hearts back at you all. So yeah, if you do wanna save this out, you can click this button right here. But first we should turn off and go into show, and then let's see sprites, and you can hide all the sprites. There you go. You can go to this, click this button right here, this drop down, and then high resolution screenshot. You can capture that and it shows you where it's saved. It's saved right here. There we go. And this is our final picture. Little Tory Gate looking thing on the top of a little hill. That's kind of what we got out of today. Yeah. So we can go post that on the Discord. Oops. Wait, where does it keep going? Okay, let's do it again. Capture, click right here. Then we can go right here and say result of today's bootcamp. Boop, boop, boop. Give it a little emoji and then post it. And if you all do have something or get something later, if you watch the video, whatever, feel free to post it right here. I'll look at it, and it makes me happy to see how awesome you all are being and following along and actually doing stuff too. But if there are no questions or whatever, I'll just call it for tonight. That's pretty much it for the Unreal Bootcamp thing. If you have any feedback as well, I'll happily hear you all out. I hope you got something out of it at least. If nothing, you listen a little bit to what my thought process is in making a picture. But that's it, I'm out. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you had a good time. I hope your food was nice, Prang. Alright, see ya. Bye-bye, everybody. And see you again next time. Next week, same time, we're doing sculpting. We're going back. And we're returning to sculpting, and then modeling, and then texturing. The sculpting bootcamps are kind of bangers, so I hope to see you all there. So, yeah. Bye-bye.